Good afternoon. It is June the 3rd, 2016, start of the second weekend of summer. Fun. Okay, we came in today, big news day. If you know the news, you have the trade. You have to position before that news hits the market to reap the full benefit of that news, because you can't buy stop or sell stop into it, as we know. There's just no liquidity. And you fill at the top or the bottom of the bar, and then if you don't get range extension, you're in trouble. So we have a Newsday strategy, and we had both the bond and the E-mini open this morning, and the first place to put on a trade was right here. That got you short at 98, 98.50, and we had that trade right there, and it's good for our usual 3 points or more. The second place to put on the trade would be the value area low, and the third place to put it on would be where the news hit the market. This trade worked well to retest that low. It came out. Another plus trade. No trade on that S. Now, we really don't like the buy side of the market because we're below the blue line. We want to trade with the trend. So we passed that trade, but that trade would have been profitable. We had a mean green trade. V-top trade right here. We took this trade. We only took 3 points out of it, but it was worth a lot more. We had this trade right here. We took this trade in the market, and it produced a nice winner. This is our most reliable B, or the second one. The first B right here. There was some selling on that bar, but you can see from here on out up into this area that the big players were coming out of the market, and you can see on pane 2 right here that looking at more blue than we were red. So this buy right here, we represent was a good trade for a winner. Retest failure here, S. S would be a scratch. And then at this point, approaching lunch, kind of lost interest in the market. I firmly believe that the easiest trading comes early in the session, and you got to get your trades on. We talked about, before we broke for lunch, a sell in the 96 area right up in here. Finally got it. I think it was good for 4 points, 3 points anyway. And then we have this last, and we talked about when we hung up on this update that you can't count on fundamentals in the E-mini. The fundamentals say that this market should be selling. But if this guy covers his shorts, and they did, that is going to be very easy to rally the market back up. So we've got resistance 2100, 2105, and we've got really, really good support in the 80 to 85 area right now. And we know that no matter what the news is, the Fed does not want this market to sell. So we had a great day trading today in the room, and hopefully some of you took advantage of that too. Okay, looking at the F1 screen. Get my finger to work on the mouse. It is Friday. Outside day, that means trading range. And again, why are we up this high? Well, the Fed's not going to be able to raise interest rates in June. Cover your shorts minimally. Economic news stinks. All the more reason to buy stocks, right? The Fed has to do something. They have to, maybe QE4 is coming. I mean, who knows? But that's the logic that we deal with. So we have outright market support by the Fed through their minions, and the biggest one is Citadel. A billionaire who recently spent $500 million on a piece of art, the highest price for a piece of art ever paid. Where does this guy get that kind of money to burn? Legalized inside information. Market manipulation. He can't lose, but he's allowed to profit on his trades. That's what we're up against as traders. Now, that doesn't really hurt us because we don't have to know who's doing it or why he's doing it. We can just see that they are. And we talked about this on our profile. We looked at the congestion area. Definitely a P. Got to move out of the middle, a mom. We don't want to fade that. Got plenty of time to get short. The issue is where to get long, and when we extend the K period range right there, that's a good place to do it. So, assuming the market closes at 98, what are we doing? We're looking to sell the 2100, 2105 for sell 1, 9 to 14 for sell 2 on Monday. On the buy side, 96.94 for buy 1, and our 91.89 for buy 2, and we'll adjust that for Monday morning when we come into it, the markets, to see what we're going to bring. No news on Monday to drive the market. Reactions in Asia, reactions in Europe to today's news. See how the equity markets trade, and we'll pick it up from there. But if you're disciplined, you take the trades that you need to take, you've thought this through, you're able to put the market into context. And context for the E-mini is good news and bad news really don't impact the market. And that kind of makes trading a little bit easier, because you really do have to trade what you see, not what you believe might happen. And that's not a bad posture to be in, really, when you get to the trading world. So often we get caught up with this has to be because of that, and that's not the case. Okay, 131.08, pretty good resistance for the 10-year. Higher low, higher high. Find a place to buy it on Monday to retest the current highs. If we can't get through the Globex high on Monday morning, we can think about a short. Strong market, strong close. Hey, the guys that trade this based on this morning's news, and they were long 2 days into this news. And why were they long? Because they have economic staffs that do the same work that the BLS does and everybody else does. And the bond players know the economy. They know the market. The yield curve is flattening. These guys don't. You can't beat their feel and pace for fundamentals in the economy. And they were long into this news before it came, and they are even longer yet. So my point is, they're not going to dump their positions. So right now we're going to look at resistance probably at 4 to 8. So first sell will be 3 to 7. Then 11 to 15. Most likely we're going to have a pause day, maybe a little bit higher in Globex. Don't get to the Globex high. On Monday morning we can sell it. The most typical day after a trend day is a pause day. On the buy side we got pretty good support, 24.28. Buy 1. 17 to 21 buy 2. Okay, looking at the bond, we had a trade off the opening this morning. On the news, we demonstrated our Newsday trade for everybody to see. We did it simultaneously in the E-mini and in the bond. And our buy point was 24. We entered the trade on the basis of those two bars of coloration right there. That's valuable information. That's your first entry point. That's your second. And this would be your third, where the news hit the market. Able to get long to retest that high. It did give you our expected 6 to 8 30 seconds. This buy is a good trade. This buy is a good trade. And then we're into chop. Market's not going anywhere. Still above the blue line. You really want to trade from the long side. So here's a scratch on that B. If you're in a hurry, you can take this S. That's a scratch. Positive trade off of that B. And we just kind of moved in the chop. So the move was over pretty much in the first hour, hour and a half in trading, and stayed that way for the rest of the day. So pretty proud of that trade. Pretty glad that I was able to share our Newsday trading techniques for you all, that you got to see that. And hopefully some of you will be able to incorporate that in your trading strategies. You have to be nimble. Okay, I'm expecting a pause day after a trend day up, so 31 to 03, sell 1. 11 to 15 if the E-mini starts to get hammered for sell 2. Support is 8 to 12 for 1. So 1 to 5, buy 1. And 21.25 for buy 2. You can do this. It's possible. Takes a lot of work, takes a lot of persistence, takes a lot of internal stamina and fortitude. We only learn from our mistakes, and in this game, not only do we make mistakes, but we have to write somebody a check when we make those mistakes, and that's never fun. Now, if you were gaming in Las Vegas or your local poker club or anything like that, you wouldn't think 2 minutes about antes and the money that you spend and the rest of that. And if you have a losing evening, cards didn't go with me. You're ready to play the next week. In this game, you should have known better. You should have been smart enough to figure that out. You knew that it was going to go down or up. You didn't take the trade, or you did take the trade, yada, yada, yada. You just mentally malpractice yourself and beat yourself up. And that's not the road or the path to success. Gold exploded to the upside. So stops above 1250. 1250, 1260 would be our prime sell territory. F1 says we should be higher on Monday. Only person that's going to come in and sell gold big time is some government entity or some large bank. First sell 45.47, sell 1. Like this trade 49 to 51, sell 2. Sell failure to take out and hold 47. On the buy side, 41 to 39 for London, buy 1. We will adjust this. Then our 36 to 34, picking up that high volume area right here, buy 2. Sell failure 45 to 47. Can take a trade against 50 because somebody's going to take profits there. Probably, if that's going to happen, it's probably going to happen in London. But you gotta love this. I mean, this is really bad market, bear market, good market, bull market. It does not matter to us. We can take either side of the market, and we do. Very few businesses prosper in downturns, economic contraction. Ours can. Inside day on crude oil. Find a trading range come Monday. Right here we've got a seller against 49. We're at 75, so 49, 49 a quarter, sell 1. 49.50, 75, sell 2. On the buy side, I think we're headed lower, so 48, 48 and a quarter, buy 1. And 47.50, 47 and a quarter, buy 2. No good news for crude oil this week. Rig count increased today too. Goodness gracious. What are these fools drilling for? Don't they know Saudi Arabia is going to drive the price down? Long-term players positioning long. Already see U.S. production falling from 9.6 million barrels a day in November to I think about 8.8 as of last month. Quits selling crude. Where's the market going to be capped? Probably going to have a hard time trading above 50, but at 50 bucks, the rich shale oil for structures can produce. The marginal ones won't. It takes 75, but somewhere around 75 bucks, all this stuff, all this inventory that we have can come online. It comes online quickly. There's about 4,500 wells waiting to be completed. As production declines in the existing wells that are producing right now, they figured out that they can go back in and refrac those and open them back up again. And it doesn't take long to do that. It's not like drilling wildcat wells in the Gulf. We've got 5-6 years to bring them in. And that will tend to cap oil prices too. So who has the advantage? Once you get past war and stability of the existing governments, and that's really not too big an issue because even dictators need cash flow. And what in the hell they take over a country like Saudi Arabia for, or Iran or Iraq? They want the oil, and they want the money that flows from it. Euro and yen exploded higher today. The United States will not be raising interest rates anytime soon. There's no reason to own dollar-denominated securities. Get me out. And that's what they did. They dumped the dollar, and their current respective currencies exploded. Okay, on the long-term chart, we saw this 1360 area, followed by 1440 was the next spots where the market could stop. So put a question mark by 60. Expect a little higher in London, but maybe not a lot higher. Pause day. So selling 1375, sell 1, 114 even, sell 2. On the buy side, 13 and a quarter, and then 113 even. Hey, that does it for June the 3rd, 2016. It's been a great week. Second weekend of summer. I've got a lot to do. I'm going to bid you all adieu. Y'all have a great weekend, and I'll be back with you bright and early morning, ready to shake that money tree in Chicago once again. Y'all have a great weekend. I'm out of here.